All praise going on is most certainly due to the Most High, the God of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I greet you in peace, and it's good to be before you. And this isn't really a lesson as it is just something, quite frankly, that needs to be said just because of a lot of messages that I've been getting lately. You know, I spent a lot of time answering questions that people have, and whether it be through email, phone calls, through the question and answer that we do every Friday night. I don't mind answering questions, but I want to make something clear, okay? And it needs to be clear. And it's based upon some of the brothers and sisters that go to some of these other camps, if you will, congregations, if you will. And I just want to point out a few in particular: Israel of God, the House of Jacob, and Israel Church of Jesus. Now, let me say this. The men that are over those congregations, I hold in the highest regard. I want to say that. Let me repeat. This is in no way disparaging against them. I look at Brother Bowie, Brother Daniel, Brother Elijah. Those are men that I hold in high regard, high esteem. So I don't ever want that to be misconstrued. I have benefited personally, like many thousands of people that these brothers have helped with the word. I have been helped either directly or indirectly through their efforts. So when I say I hold them in the highest esteem, I truly mean that. Okay. So you'll never get me to say anything that's contrary to that, because I know I've benefited from their efforts. So I want to make that clear first before what I'm about to say. And I'm going to give you the rationale as to why I'm saying what I'm saying. The reason I'm about to say what I'm about to say is because I want to keep down any confusion. And I want to keep any confusion that may be caused, not by them, but some people that go to that congregation. I don't want to be misinterpreted. Okay. So the issue is, like I said, I asked a lot of questions. And so what's happening is people that go to some of these places, you're under proper teaching. What you don't need to do is come here and ask me. What the public service announcement today is: listen to your teacher. If you under Brother Bowie is an awesome teacher. Awesome teacher, has done a great work. Work is in front of you, cannot be denied. He know what he's talking about. And guess what? He got awesome teachers up under him, all over the country and even internationally. So you don't need to call the House of Faith about a question that can be answered there. Okay. And I'm going to just go through some examples of what I'm talking about that has happened recently and why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay. So the first, and I'm going to just read you this text, because some things are just common sense. Now, this individual said, he called me. Okay. And he just started asking the question. Now, people call from all over the country, sometimes from other places. There's people in the question and answer from Australia. There's people from the islands, different things. But he called and he said, yeah, I got, can you tell me? I said, hold on, brother, what's your name? How you doing? Now, I said, now something, ask this brother where he fellowship at. Because he just talking. I haven't said anything other than that. I said, brother, where do you fellowship at? He said, well, I go to the Israel of God. I said, yeah, because the reason I asked because, and I could be, I'm not 100%, but I believe this is a brother that came one day after service was over where we're at and asked the question then. It wasn't in a question and answer period. It was just, he's asking a question. They say this, what do you say? You know what my response was? Listen to your teacher. Because that's the teaching you up under. I believe that was him. I can't say for sure. Now his partner that was with him understood that. Apparently I don't think he did, because he couldn't wrap his mind around that. Now he said, well, I go from place to place asking the questions. I said, and that's how confusion gets started. And the reason confusion gets started is because, number one, you're asking a question, so you're lacking understanding of something. Oftentimes, any teacher can tell you, when you say something, you expound upon something in scripture to somebody, oftentimes they don't understand what you said. Sometimes, or they will misinterpret what you said. And so now they have misinterpreted what you said. They not you're not the one that's teaching them every week. Like it's people I teach on, it's people on here right now that I teach weekly in some form of fashion. So now you take the answer which you have misinterpreted, and you take that back to where you came from and take it to your teacher. But you didn't even have the right answer as far as what I said or somebody else said. That's confusion. Well, he said this. Listen to your teacher. If you are under that teaching, you're an Israel God. I know Brother Boy is capable. That ain't no question. So you don't need to come here asking questions. You got leadership there. You got many outlets there. So that's what I told him on the phone. Now, let me read you this same individual. He says, I know you only answer questions for those who fellowship with your church. And then he says, but I believe you should answer 1 Corinthians 3, 4, and 5. Number one, that's not even really a question. But number two, listen to what he said. He said, I know you only answer questions for those who fellowship with your church. That's a prime example of what I'm talking about. Who told you that? I never said that. I answer questions from people all over, all the time. However, if you're in a place like Israel of God, like House of Jacob, like Israel Church of Jesus, I know you're under proper teaching. So you don't need to ask me. Ask your teacher. Listen to what your teacher has told you. That's what you need to do. See, but you see how he can misinterpret, like how you can be misinterpreted. I never said that that I don't answer nobody question unless they fellowship with us. I said you need to go and ask your pastor, your teacher, because I know how things can be misconstrued. I know how things can be misinterpreted. And the audacity to, after I told you no, certainly once, possibly twice, that you would contact me a third time and tell me what I need to do. I answer to God, you're not my God. I got God and I got a Father on earth. You understand? So this is just the foolishness. That's example number one. Oh, he's saying, and then he said, you should read. Then he goes on, you should read 1 Corinthians. If you're asking me questions, who should read? You're not even in a position. You're not even in a position to tell me what I should do. You ain't even put in enough time to tell me what to do. You ain't in no position to tell me what I need to do. The audacity of Negroes. And that's the problem. You don't understand protocol and understand respect. Respect your own teacher. Respect your own teacher. Go to your own teacher. I'm not saying that we not all of Christ. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is you gonna bring about some confusion, which leads me to example number 2. So somebody contacted me about being a barber. I had no idea where they fellowship at or what they do. So I did a video on it because they had a question specifically. Now, I answered the question. Then they call at 11 o'clock at night, which is fine. I get calls late sometimes. That don't matter. I don't mind answering questions. But then she said, well, I'm talking, this teacher saying this teacher saying this, you saying this. Who is the other teacher? What are you talking about? Well, I don't want to say. You're going to have to say if we're going to continue this conversation. Oh, where's Brother Elijah? If that's your tea, he said something, and then she brought up something that I don't even think I addressed. I'm like, listen, if that's your teacher, public service announcement, listen to your teacher. Have respect enough for him to listen to what he's telling you. And what happens oftentimes is that people get an answer they don't want. And here's another thing. All these teachers in Israel, have you noticed one thing? They all are not Ottomans. They all don't think exactly the same on every single thing. Some things, there's differences of opinion. Some things are salvation issues. Like these people that say, I can't even say you're a true brother if you saying you don't have to be baptized. But then you got some that we one in Christ, but there may be some differences. Public service announcement. I'm not Brother Boyd. I'm not Brother Daniel. I'm not Brother Elijah. You might get a different answer. I'm not my father. I'm my own man. And another thing going back, a lot of times people will get an answer from them or one of the brothers somebody that they under, and they don't like the answer. It don't necessarily mean the answer's wrong. It means they don't want the answer that you gave. So now they want to come and ask you and bring you into that public service announcement. Listen to your teacher. You under prophets. I ain't talking about you under some false prophets or some false teaching. But the men I mentioned, I know they teach properly. You under them? Deal with that. Don't come over here because you don't like what they said. Which leads me to another example. That's what I'm saying. Usually I don't even do stuff like this. But apparently it's necessary. The next one. Sister called about her no good husband. Going on and on, or she sent an email, a series of emails going on and on. There's a guy going on and on about what her husband not doing, how he not doing this, and then the capstone on it, he did something. She claimed you physical, whatever, at the facility, whatever. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't fellowship with you. I don't know if you're telling the truth. All I got is your one side, what made it seem like you are perfect and telling the complete truth. When anybody in ministry know, oftentimes when you sit down, especially with a husband and a wife, you can oftentimes see that it's more than one side. You got what one saying, and you got what the other saying, and you got the truth. And then I said, well, question, and this is a logical question. Since you go to the Israel of God, have you spoken to leadership at the Israel of God? And then she said, and got upset with me, saying, well, I wanted another witness. Wait a minute. I'm not leadership. I'm not there. You claimed it was done in front of somebody there. Wouldn't they be a witness to what happened? I'm not in a position to deal with that situation. Leadership there is in a position to deal with that situation. What you brothers and sisters are doing is confusion. Public service announcement. Listen to your teacher. I know for a fact he is quite capable of dealing with that. And has men that are quite capable of dealing with that. This is the next example. And this is a little different example. which to me it may be a bit more egregious, is something happened at the end of the God, then you come where we at under the guise that you want to just spread the news. Negro, we don't need you to spread the news. Don't come over here under the guise of trying to help or do something. You ain't fellowship with us. We don't know you. You ain't been fellowshipping with us, but you want to spread some rumors about what's going on over there. Let me tell you something. Stay where you at. Stay where you at. Don't come over here because you mad at something that's going on over there. Because I know more than likely, guess what the problem is? You. Don't come over here under the guise where we just want to tell you, we think you should know. No, you did. And then had some words, and I didn't respond on Facebook. I let it slide. And that's another thing. Don't get crushed. Don't get crushed. Don't mistake being laid back for being weak. Don't get crushed out here. You there? You under proper teaching. We don't need you to spread nothing that's going on over here. Why would you bring that over here? And then has something to say. You need to keep your mouth shut. You need to be in order. We in the corner over here, ain't bothering nobody. And quite frankly, I'm not the one. So what you need to do, stay where you at. You in a proper teaching. Listen to authority and leadership there, because I know they're teaching you right. Stop with the confusion. That's really not I'm not even going to deal with any scriptures right now. But you need to deal with that, with what's going on there. And with that, brothers and sisters, that's my message for today. That's my message for today. So it's my prayer that you get some understanding.